Good evening and welcome to District Directions for the 2016-2017 school year. I'm your host Jay Curry, the instructor coordinator of the Video Resource Center. If you've spent any time driving around Norman this summer, you've recognized there is a ton of construction going on throughout the entire district. We're here at Norman North in front of their new facility, and our own Josh McGill had the chance earlier this summer to go inside and get the inside view.
This is a very exciting year. We've got rounding up the end of phase one of the bond projects through this round, which I just want to take a minute again and thank everybody in Norman for allowing this to happen. We've got some great facilities coming up. Phase one is nearing completion. What phase one is the front area, which you can see right up front. You also have the north end where it's the College and Career Center, which is about to be completed. I believe a year ago is when construction began on phase one. So they've been working throughout last year and throughout the summer on the College Center and the front area. We should be opening the College and Career Center as a temporarily housing for the Freshman Academy. The building will be open around the second week of October, end of the first week, beginning of the second week of October. So we're within just a couple of weeks of that facility opening. So the College and Career Center will be opening. Now we got to move on to phase 2 and 3, which include athletic facilities on the far north end. You can see steel going up even today, which is fantastic. Phase 3 will be the interior. So we're going to build the Freshman Academy on the north side interior of the building, and then also renovate the library and media center in the middle of the building. So during that, we're transitioning. So the Freshman Academy will be temporarily housed in that College Center while we build on phase 3 of the building.
All right, thank you, Josh. Great job. You can see we're actually now inside of the facility here at Norman North. Absolutely beautiful facility that's just a few days away from being open. Not only is there an absolutely beautiful facility here at Norman High, they're in the process of making something very similar to this. And our own Dylan Ramsey sat down with Dave Gibson and the assistant principal there and talked about the construction.
Norman High School has been under construction for a little over a year now and will continue to undergo improvements until next year. I've had the chance to sit down with Assistant Principal Dave Gibson and discuss how these changes have been affecting students and faculty.
Man, our students have been phenomenal. I mean, our students are very flexible. Teachers have adapted, have been willing to try to overcome issues, and been very patient.
It's a real delay, to be honest, because first off, the hallways are narrow, you know, like really narrow, and so it just creates more crowds. And then the freshmen, you know, they don't know what they're doing. It's been an adjustment.
The hall is too small, and there's taller people that's taller than me, and I got a hard time getting to different moving the crowd. So yeah, it's pretty hard though, but it's all cool.
And we've tried to be proactive in knowing where there would be constraints and where there might be issues. Like, for instance, there's 4 classrooms we had hoped to have ready at the beginning of school. Well, they're not quite ready yet, and so we've had to displace some teachers, and they're in different and odd places in the building.
Teachers kind of are figuring out what the new room numbers are, but it hasn't been bad. But I had to change rooms, which stinks, but I'm adapting.
But this is a large-scale project. I think probably the next thing you're going to see happen in the next couple of weeks, those four rooms I was telling you about in the 300 hall will open up. Shortly after that, you'll see the men's restroom in the main hall will open up. You're going to start to see some things like that happen in the near future. In the distant future, next semester, we'll be working on completing the Freshman Academy.
Oh yeah, really? But that'd be a good thing to have for our freshmen.
I mean, it's becoming one big building, so I mean that's gonna be easier for going outside. You don't have to go the outside route. I mean, so I'm not really looking forward to it, since I'll probably be a senior when that happens.
The idea is that we give them an opportunity to grow and develop in a culture and a climate that's really conducive to where they're at. The final date hopefully is the end of July or end of June of 2017 that will be completed with the project completely. Here's how I really see it. It's much of it is a great inconvenience, but I see it as progress. It's difficult even just navigating around Norman right now. But my goodness, isn't that an awesome thing to see happening? Working on infrastructure, working on streets, and we're working on making things better in the long run, not just at OU or at Norman High. It's going on all over the town. That's encouraging for our city. I'm actually excited about all of it. So.
For Norman Public Schools Channel 18, I'm Dylan Ramsey.
Thank you, Dylan, and thank you, Mr. Gibson, for sitting down and talking to us about the construction at Norman High School. We're now in one of the new classrooms here at Norman North. Absolutely beautiful facility. In just a few days, it'll be filled with students and educators, wonderful educators, just like Jamie Rinsel, a math teacher at Norman High School who recently won a Mathematics Presidential Award, and our own Ricardo Urso sat down and talked to her about the award.
I received the 2015 Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. Miss Klingensmith actually nominated me for the award 2 years ago in 2015. And I found out that I was a state finalist in 2016, I think. It was a year afterwards that I found out. And then they sent it off to the national level, and they emailed this summer and said, you're a candidate, we think you're gonna win. And then it came out, I think the first Monday of school, the White House did a press release and said that you are the Oklahoma math winner for the Presidential Award. So in order to apply for it, one, you have to be nominated, and then after that, it's a series of video, resume, all that kind of stuff. So I had to do a 45-minute video of my classroom, an unedited video, and then with that was a paper, big giant paper, 15-page of what's going on, what happened before the video and after, and your whole teaching process and all that. And then you submit your resume, your resume and letters of recommendation. Dr. Beck sent one, I had a student send one, and then my team teacher sent a letter of recommendation as well. So when receiving the award, it's obviously just a huge deal, getting that honor as well, being recognized as an award winner. But with it comes a trip to DC, where we got to go. We went this past week for 3 days in DC, my husband and I, a paid trip for the two of us. Got to meet with all the other state award winners, so we had some professional development time and time to just meet each other and stuff, but an additional time for my husband and I to go out and see the monuments and tour the White House and kind of do the whole tourist thing. Had a nice award ceremony at the Constitution Hall, so we got to get up and get our certificate signed from the president. And in addition to the trip, also receive a $10,000 award. I'm gonna keep doing my thing in the classroom, and it's really exciting. It's very nice to be honored that way, and I'm humbled by it. But I'm gonna keep teaching the same way that I was teaching before, if not still reflecting on what I currently do and why am I teaching this way, and really wanna make sure that my students get the best teacher they can and the best material. So regardless of the award or not, it's more so about my students than it is about me.
All right, thank you, Ricardo, and congratulations, Jamie. We're now coming to you from Norman North, their studio area. It's Fred Avery's classroom. It's on the second floor of the new facility. Absolutely, once again, gorgeous facility, and it looks great. One thing, with all the new construction that's going on and all the new facilities that we're going to have, a lot of people are worried about the safety of the kids. Well, our own Stephanie Pham sat down with Dr. Nick Millerino and discussed the partnership with Norman Public Schools and the Norman Police Department.
Over the past, couple of decades, we've had our own security department. And actually, it's kind of a misnomer. It actually was Norman Public Schools Police Department. It was a sanctioned police department. And just over the years, as things have evolved, we really didn't have the resources internally to support that department. Well, with the sales tax that was passed by the city, and in conjunction with spending about the same amount of money we were spending, and kind of formalizing what we were already doing with the Norman Police Department, we were able to actually create a plan and bring in Norman police officers into our buildings and actually have the resources of the Norman Police Department, as opposed to trying to create all of those resources ourselves, the trainings, just all of that. So, going from about four officers with our internal police department to now going to 5 full-time officers, soon 7 full-time officers, and then in the very near future 13 full-time officers across our district, with the backup and support of the entire Norman Police Department. It was really a no-brainer, and when you're talking about school safety and security, having those experts, those well-trained officers in our buildings, it was just something we needed to do, and thankfully with the vote of the people and the support of the city, we were able to do that.
I'm the supervisor of the school resource section, so that's the portion of the police department that has partnered with the Norman Public Schools to perform the policing duties in the schools. So it's my job more specifically to help train, motivate, and ensure, and in short, support the police officers that are in the schools to make sure they have what they need and they're prepared so they can go out and do the good work that they're doing in the schools.
Currently, we have 2 officers at each high school. Okay, so 2 at Norman North, 2 at Norman High School. We have 1 officer who roams through all 4 middle schools, and then we have a supervising officer or lieutenant who is overseeing the entire program. His name is Lieutenant Chad Vincent. So currently we have Lieutenant Chad Vincent, the 2 at each high school, the 2 at each high school, and then 1 who roams through the middle school. So that gives us 6 total officers. And the neat thing is we also have them set up in feeding patterns, meaning we might be asking what's going on with the elementary schools. Well, the 2 officers at each high school have been assigned approximately 3 elementaries. So if there's an issue at an elementary school or an officer is needed, or they want them to come in to work a program or do something, we'll always be able to have an officer at a high school, but one of those officers can respond to all the needs of the elementary schools as well. So we have a very strategic plan on how we're covering all of our sites. But day to day, physically, we have officers at every high school. We have a roamer that roams through the middle schools every day, and then as needed, 1 at the elementaries. And most of the time at the elementaries, they put on programs. They get in front of the kids at their assemblies. They go by and see them in classes, just building those relationships.
I think I would tell you the day-to-day is very much like an administrator in the fact that you probably don't, every day is different. So I think from my perspective as I talk and interact with our officers that are on campus, it's very different. They can go from being at a pep rally to being walking the hallways at lunch, interacting with students, to the next minute they're working with the administrators to resolve any kind of incidents that may have occurred. But for the most, they're out, they're being proactive, they're talking to students and teachers, really trying to be that go-to when they have questions, to really be that good resource on campus.
We've always had a police department, so the pro is we will continue to have a police department in Norman Public Schools. And another pro is the training. The training our officers went to over the past however many years, it was pretty much the minimum training we needed for a CLEAT certified officer and a police department. And minimum still at a pretty high level, so don't take that as something real low, and our officers did a great job. But the biggest pro is we have the support of the entire Norman Police Department and quick access to them if needed. So all of our safety planning, our security planning, our emergency planning is all done side by side now with those officers who know our buildings intimately. So that's a huge pro. Con is having to wait to get all 13. Really excited about full implementation, but that's just going to take time, and it makes sense. We just don't want to dump all these officers in there without being able to work through and sequentially figure out what are the true needs and how are we going to best use the resources that we will have. So that to me is really the only con. And then just educating people on, no, we're not putting police officers in schools for disciplinary reasons. They are there to be visible. If you saw them at the football game at Norman High, Norman North, they were actually taking selfies with kids and building relationships, and that's what we want. We want them to be there as a resource, and we want our community to understand that that's what they are. It's not a punitive action, it's a positive action.
I think it's certainly a benefit, the partnership, it benefits both directions. So what I can tell you from my experience this year, it really unlocks everything that's going on in the Norman Public Schools. It essentially unlocks, or we get a glimpse into the school day from the police department wide. So not only do we have officers in schools, each and every day, but other officers are also able to participate. They're out at the games, the other activities, the performances. So we essentially get to see and experience what goes on in the schools now. So it's definitely a good benefit that flows both directions.
You never know when or where an emergency is going to take place and what form it's going to take place in. But I think having, once again, their training and their expertise to help guide us as educators from that procedural side of things is really going to help us. We're professional educators, they're professional officers, and their training and our training combined, I believe we're going to be able to create a more sustainable and solid safety and security plan.
I can tell you as a parent of a Norman Public School student, students too actually, I can tell you that I'm excited about the partnership, and I can tell you the parents should be more at ease. The officers that are in the schools, they're very passionate about student safety. That's their number one goal. They understand that when parents drop their kids off at school, that there's certainly a level of concern, but the message we would like to deliver is they should rest assured that they have their safety in mind and are doing absolutely everything in their power to ensure that their safety is top priority, they're taken care of, and they're mentoring to their students while they're away for the day.
This is a true partnership. It is not an us and them, and it really never has been an us and them when it comes to the Norman Police Department and the Norman Public Schools. We're really just formalizing what we were already doing. Even when we had our own department, their first call, if they needed assistance, if anything escalated beyond just day-to-day activities, they would call NPD. NPD would respond accordingly and quickly. They've been a tremendous help. So just really formalizing what we were doing over the past many years and making our relationship, or helping our relationship go to another level. I really think it is great, though, if you have the opportunity to walk the halls of the high school at some point, or see our officers at sporting events or activities. They're not just there. They are there interacting and with not only the students but the parents and the teachers, and building those relationships, and hopefully people get to know them on a first name basis, and it just continues to grow and be as positive as it has been from this, up to this point.
Despite the rainy weather on September 16th, over 600 Normanites volunteered their time for United Way's Day of Caring. The volunteers were sent to more than 40 locations all over Norman, including our schools. Stationed in the library of Lincoln Elementary School, the volunteers have been helping with everything from rolling up yarn balls for student art projects to helping the teachers organize documents for the upcoming book fair.
The volunteers today are doing a lot of little jobs, but it adds up to a big help for our kids. They really are making a difference, and I know that the kids may not realize exactly what has happened today, but they're going to feel the impact from all the help we've had. Our volunteers are from the Norman Regional Health System, and they'll be visiting Washington, Roosevelt, and Lincoln today.
I look forward to the Day of Caring every year. It's an opportunity to give back to nonprofits in our community and help out. It's fun to give back.
This is my second year of doing the Day of Caring. I don't do it because I'm not artsy, as we can tell. I, again, like Tawny said, I like to give back to the community. I actually don't even live in Norman, but since I work in Norman, I want to do what I can do to lift up the nonprofits and the community itself.
On our way here, we passed some other nonprofits, and I noticed a lot of people wearing the shirts kind of all around Norman, so I thought that was pretty neat to see just kind of the force of United Way and volunteers helping all throughout our city.
I've recently started appreciating everything I have and just feel like I need to start giving back a lot more, is why I'm here, and it's a fun time, it's a good time, and amongst great people.
My daughter used to attend a school for kids with special needs called Special Care, and I saw how the United Way, they'd have Day of Caring, and they would be flooded with, at one time I think there was around 100 people showed up to clean the grounds and things like that. So that was very cool, and that was one reason I thought whenever I get to a place that allows me to do that, I would love to give back.
It's wonderful to have people come in because you can always use extra hands, and there's never enough time and never enough people, and Day of Caring offers that.
The Day of Caring has seen record-breaking numbers of volunteers for the last 2 years. United Way hopes that 2017 attracts even more caring people to help in their community. For Channel 18, I'm Dylan Ramsey.
Thank you guys, all that came out and helped. We really appreciate it. Not only is there construction going on at both high schools, several middle schools, but also at the elementary schools. One of the projects that just finished was an ABL lab at Jefferson Elementary School. Josh McGill went out there to see what it was all about.
Action-Based Learning Lab is a great experience for our students to be able to come in and work on academics as well as give a physically active portion to their day. We have a reading specialist that brought a couple of our students in this last week, and they were able to stay focused as they were on 2 of our stations and be able to read as well as be able to be physically active. My goal would be to have the district be able to purchase some type of kinesthetic equipment and to be able where they would be able to put it throughout their building.
Just got to see the presentation for the interacting classroom. Real exciting stuff going on in there. Apparently a grant that was obtained 6 years ago to help stimulate the brain for better learning for our kids in Norman Public Schools. And if I showed my employees, they'd want me to get one of each too. It's really exciting in there. So they're already seeing positive results, and I can't wait to see it get into our other schools.
My name is Dana Chambers. I'm the School Shelter Lifestyles and Action-Based Learning Coordinator. This past year, we've installed 29 Action-Based Learning Labs in our 7 School Shelter Lifestyle schools. We're really excited to be here in Norman. The big piece of this is all about the brain and learning and movement. And the research proves over and over again, students move, the brain is lit up, they're ready to learn. So when they come in the lab, they're able to re-engage the brain, move, and include academics as their studies around.
All right, that wraps it up for our first episode. Thank you so much for joining us and seeing all the exciting things that are happening in Norman Public Schools. We just barely scratched the surface. Until next time, we'll see you again on District Directions.